Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Jason Pizzino. If you're new to the channel, we teach technical analysis on Aussie stocks, US stocks, cryptocurrencies, and economic cycles to help you profit from these markets in order to increase your profits and obtain financial freedom. If that sounds like what you've been searching for on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button and show your support with the like button down below. We're almost at 30,000 subscribers. I think we'll get there by the end of the month, and that's absolutely wild. I didn't think we'd get there ever. I couldn't have done it without your support, guys. I'm not there yet, we're nearly there. And of course, the support from other fellow YouTubers, which is why I'm teaming up with my fellow YouTuber, Justin Baldori from Melbourne. He's gonna cover all of the fundamentals from the stocks we're looking at today, and we're gonna go through all of the technicals in this video. And in this video, we're gonna look at some stocks which we're gonna put onto the watch list for the potential in the market correcting again. Yes, I don't think the bottom is going to be taken out from March, but it looks like there could be some turbulence until middle or end of next year. It's what I've been saying on the channel for some time, and that comes into our economic market cycles theories. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the economic market cycles, we follow an 18.6 year approximate cycle in the property markets. Now, this can be seen in the stock markets as well. Essentially, the property market is the God market. It's the one that pushes and moves everything else around it, and of course, the US is the biggest of them all. Now, I won't go into too much detail with that. I'll just mention it briefly in every other video, but I do have a video in more detail on the channel, and I'll leave a card link for it up here or in the description. So go and check it out. I have talked about it previously. Now, let's move on with the stocks for this video, for the stocks that we're gonna put on our watch list for a potential in the market correction. Like I said earlier, I'm teaming up with Justin Baldori to go through all of these stocks in technical analysis and on his channel Fundamentals. So be sure to go and check out his channel after this video ends. I've got a link in the description for his video. So first stock we're looking at is Wisr. Now, people have asked to just have a brief background on what they are. So I've got the ASX website here. You guys can find this at asx.com.au. Wisr, ticker is WZR. Click over to the details, and essentially they're a marketplace lending platform provider of personal loans and retail investment products. So it pretty much looks like they do personal loans and things like that at a higher rate than the banks. I think in their case, they're trying to show that they do the personal loans at lower rates. How they do it, that's going to be a fundamental analysis point for Justin's video. So let's have a look at the charts. So you can see on Wisr that it had a reasonable run up from that March crash. Now, from the low to the top, somewhere around 300%. So I'm looking at this as something that could be more of a trade in the potential correction. Might be a good long term, but at this point, I like the look of the resistance, which is now support at the 17 cents. So we still have to wait for that to come back and see if it'll hit the 17 cents as support. But previously, if we zoom in, you can see that it hit 17 many times, just here and here. Here it burst above it, but then came back straight away. And you can see on a smaller scale, just in this little bit of data here, that 17 cents is an area that this market likes to play around, essentially. It also has a lot of good geometric mathematics according to a lot of these fibs. So if we draw the fib from the top to the bottom, where I'm looking at here is this area. Now I'll just bring that chart out a little bit so you can see it a bit better. Now, this area, 34 cents, down to 6.5 cents. That 61.8% comes out dead on 17 cents. Now, if we get rid of this fib and we add another fib from the current low to the current high, 17 cents comes out at 50%. So these are big levels where you can expect markets to come back to. So 17 cents is really an area that I'll be looking at some sort of support coming up, and potentially a good entry position for a future trade further up into the market. So I don't want to see this thing close below 15 cents. That would be a little bit of a red flag for me. That's it for Wisr. Let's check out Whispir. Now, Whispir is a global scale software as a service company which provides a communications workflow platform that automates interactions between businesses and people. Man, the ASX website loves to have some long sentences. Okay, let's look at the chart for Whispir, which is WSP. Now, this one doesn't have a lot of data, but from the low of March, we can see that this ran up over 600%. So what I'm saying here is that there's lots of room to move for a potential trade. So any of these areas that we see the market come back to, there's potential room for big moves. This is kind of what I know a lot of guys like to use as penny stock gambles, and they'll jump in and buy these sorts of things and on the hope that they're going to get big gains, right? So I think this is what people use a lot of these stocks for, as opposed to really understanding what the company is about. At the end of the day, you are investing, you want to make money, so you've got to choose whichever system works for you. Looking at support and resistance, $2 looks like a very good area. This is a beautiful, beautiful move up. Came back as support at the $2 and then forged ahead strongly. So I really like the look of $2. It's been resistance in the past, resistance, broke through, support. $2 looks like a great area, but I don't think the market will come back that far. I think it's probably going to come back 360 to 320, somewhere in this area here, and potentially push ahead for $6. That's basically my roadmap for Whispir as a trade itself. We like the look of these ranges, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's kind of where I would see this happening. Also, like I've got in the notes here, this volume is dropping, which is a good sign. You don't want to see heavy volume as it falls unless it's at the end of the move. And we're seeing good increasing volume on the way up. So that's why I've got this one on the list as a potential to look out for if we get another big, strong correction in the market. So that's Whispir done. Let's move on to our third stock, and I've got a wild card after this third stock, which I haven't mentioned. Let's look at this one first, and this first one is Rbl, print on demand service. Why I've got this one, again, the moves are massive, and I know people love massive moves. They think it's an easy way to get quick, easy money, but it takes a lot of patience and learning and just being able to record these as a sniper, right? So this thing has gone up, if we move that, 700% from the low, almost 800%. So this one's going to come up on a lot of people's radars as it starts to fall, because you'll get big falls from this. It briefly made support around 190. So what I'm talking about here is that area. I'm just going to move this chart over a bit so there's a bit more room for you to see. And $2 looks like a great area of resistance. So that was basically a triple top, 1, 2, 3, and it burst through. That's another strong sign. I've got here, looks like it's in a bubble, pun intended, because the company's called Redbubble. So that's why I'd be waiting for something else to happen and just see whether it just starts to consolidate, maybe like that. We haven't seen it ever take off this hard, so that's why it's a bit of a difficult one to say. So I would be looking at this to keep it on the list to see if there is a quick trade as opposed to a long-term investment. Now, that's generally what people tend to come to YouTube for when the markets go crazy. Like we saw in COVID, which is that area there, as the market begins to fall, everyone flocks to try and find a way to make quick money. So if that's what you want to do, that's why I've got this one at the end. I'm not suggesting it as an investment. This is something that I would keep on the watch list as a potential trade later down the track. But again, it would really come down to seeing how volatile this stock happens to be if we get a market correction. So there's a lot of ifs. Just keep it on my list. Check it out on a weekly basis. That's about it. I wouldn't spend too much time on this. Worst case scenario, I would see it somewhere around these lower levels. That's 80-ish cents, and that's $1.20, which has made resistance, then support on that beautiful little swing up into its bubble. So that's Rbl. I'm going to move on to the final one, my little wild card, because this looks like it's in a much better position long term than these stocks here that we're looking at. As I said, these ones are potentials for volatility in a market correction. And the last stock is cash converters, CCV. Now I found this one as I was looking through a few of these other ones like Redbubble, came up on the side. I'm like, let's have a look at that. Market cap is 130 mil. What do? We should all know what Cash Converters does. Franchisor of secondhand stores operating under the name Cash Converters. Let's have a look at the chart. And guys, if you do want to have these charts, tradingview.com, link in the description. You can get a free account or you can get a paid, up to you. But if you get the free, you'll get all those ads that pop up. Cash converters. So these are a lot of lines on the chart. I'll get rid of those just for a sec so you can get a nice clean look at that chart. This is what you would probably consider a nice accumulation. before it takes off and takes off again. Now we're sort of in this position where we've had some volume, that's the volume there, and it's starting to base out at that level. So could this be something longer term, much better possibility than the previous charts? I hope you're beginning to see that on these charts, right? So if we open up all of the details again, potential accumulation happening down here, volume's increasing, right? And we want to see it drop off as it gets to the lows. Watching to see if the lows hold, and those lows are around 13 cents, which is that yellow line. And then we've got some resistance at 27, and then on the way up, 40 cents, around 56 to 60 cents, and 80 cents. Again, these potentials are quite big. So if I put these on the lows of 2001, bring them right up to the highs that we saw in 2013, that you're not incorrect. That's 7,300%. Now, I'm not saying anyone's going to get the exact low and the exact top, but in between that, you've got massive, massive ranges, which you could get a little bit of. You could definitely pick it up here. And even if you sold it at this top, there's 300%. If you sold it at the GFC top, there's 800%. So there's a lot of potential that I'm seeing in a chart like this, should the lows hold. If you want, last thing, probably it's going to be a grinding pace and you need patience. What I was going to say is if you want to see more of this, hit Justin up on his channel and also comment down below if you want to see this one in more detail. This is cash converters. Cool guys, I'm going to leave all the charts there. So that's a look at 4 stocks that I would be looking at putting onto the watch list, a few for potential trades, and the last one there for a potential longer term investment. Now I want to read just a little tiny quick couple of sentences out of this book that I mentioned on previous videos. It is Learn Before You Lose and Forecasting by Time Cycles, W.D. Gann, right? So what I mean by this last chart on cash converters, the big money in pyramiding, so this is when we're adding to our position, basically dollar cost averaging in as well, is made in the run between accumulation, which is potentially this area, and distribution. That is after a stock passes out of the zone of accumulation. So we're in a spot where the market could be basically people buying up and the price isn't moving too much. The biggest money is made if you can get in at those points and obviously sell out at the tops. Easier said than done, but I think if we continue to educate ourselves and review the charts, then we're going to be in a much better position to be able to effectively carry out that plan. Let me know what other trading books you're reading down below. I'd love to see what you guys are interested in. Of course, go and check out Justin Baldori's channel as well for the fundamentals after this video. Should be coming out very shortly. If not, it'll already be out. And I'll see you guys at the next video. Lastly, be sure to like the video and subscribe down below if you haven't already. It's just a free, easy, cheap, it's free way to support the channel if you enjoy the content and find some valuable information from it. Thanks again for joining me on another video. Leave your comments down below with any other stocks and cryptocurrencies you want to see more of, or if you want to learn a bit more about the economic market cycles. I'll catch you guys at the next video. Until then, have more fun to get more done.